Okay guys, so I've been asked a question about push-ups, and push-ups are a movement that are commonly done incorrectly all the time. What people tend to do is they tend to try and do them off their knees, especially ladies, and then try to progress onto the toes. And what we often forget about is the concept of bracing and setting our core in a tight position, in a neutral position, which is actually very hard to do when you're on your knees. And what happens then is, when girls try to progress to do push-ups off their toes, they don't get that connection through their core, and they end up doing it in a double movement or sagging at their lower back and losing that connectivity, and they don't get the full benefit from the motion. So what I want you to do is, I'm actually going to show you some progressions that we use here in the gym, and some progressions that you can use at home if you don't have the equipment that we have in the gym. So first of all, the first type of press up you can do is, you can actually set a bench up, and you can elevate your hands towards your chest. Now the concepts here are very simple. Your hands are shoulder width apart, and you're squeezing your glutes as tight as you can to create that tension. Once your glutes are tight, your belly is tight, turn the pit of your elbows out to point in the same direction as your middle finger. You slowly drop your chest to the bench and come back up again. You repeat that, and you must note that the body moves in one motion up and down. There is no double movement. When I say turn the pit of the elbows facing out, what I mean is, once we're set up in this position, if you can see the pit of my elbows facing in, I'm turning that out. That sets my shoulder in a stable, neutral position, and it allows me to keep my arms close to my body as I drop down into the push-up. That's a very important concept. That's concept number one. Concept number two is you're squeezing your glutes as tight as you can, so that sets your core in a nice position, so you're not doing a double movement. Once you can do it with your hands elevated, then what you want to do is maybe use a band. So once you have the help of a band, it will take some of the weight for you because you're working off the resistance. So in the gym we can hook it off the rig. If you don't have this at home, you can buy bands and try and hook it off a higher surface. Again, our setup is the same. The band is connected, externally rotate the pit of the elbows out, straighten your legs, squeeze your bum as tight as you can, drop down, back up again. Drop down, back up again. And with those two variations, the bench and the band, it allows you to keep that connection through your bum, keep your core tight, without compromising your lower back or your spine or your core. When you go off your knees doing a press up, it's very hard to get that connection through your core and to squeeze your bum. It's literally impossible. So as you're working up and down, and then you try to progress, it makes it hard because you've learned for so long without having to do that, without having to set your glutes in a good position. Another good option is to work on the eccentric. So, I always tell people to start at the bottom of the push-up. Once they're in this position, elbows close to the body, squeeze the bum as tight as you can, inhale through your nose, exhale, push your hands into the floor. Very tight. Then maybe drop to the knees and slowly work the eccentric motion down. Set it again, squeeze your bum, push up, slowly drop to the knees and work the eccentric motion down. Set it up again, and repeat that process. So you're building your strength on that eccentric motion down, but you're still getting that connectivity and learning how to brace your spine, squeeze your glutes on that press up. So we have three variations there, all better than doing the push up off your knees, bench, band, or work the eccentrics.